So I've been reading online that this stuff, what do you call it again?
Kombucha.
Kombucha is really good for you.
It is. It is because it's full of probiotics. So it keeps your intestine lined with all the good nunus that we need. That tend to get, well, they certainly get stripped when you're on antibiotics, but I think a lot of our diet also just doesn't actually encourage a good culture of probiotics in our intestine. So there are several things. Kombucha. There comes the SCOBY.
So is that what we're talking about?
Yes, that's the SCOBY. I've got an interesting issue here that this doesn't want to hook over, but let's just deal with it like this. So the SCOBY, it's a kind of a little bit like, the texture of it is a bit like, why can't I think of the word?
Gelatine?
Yes, it's a bit like gelatine, set gelatine. So there you can see is a very generous bit of froth there, which is completely natural. So that's been in the jar like this, the second fermentation, probably for about 10 days or so. And there should be a little bit of buchu flavor and the waterberry in there. I actually need to taste this one because...
Oh, and such a nice fizz.
Yeah, that is too sweet, definitely, with that.
I see you were going for the balance of flavors between the buchu and the kai. Very nice, though. Very nice.
So I'm fairly kind of new into the journey of this kind of fermentation, but certainly indigenous flavors added into a kombucha is definitely a way to go.
For me, it tastes like the felt smells. It's beautiful. There's a memory in it.
Yes.
So then what I've also done is I've made some crackers where I did a fermentation course, so I also learned about sourdough. So I used sourdough in these crackers, and I used baobab powder in it.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yes, baobab powder is one of our South African superfoods, and you can go to the health food shop and buy a couple of different makes. It's basically the inside pulp of the dried pulp of the baobab, which gets ground down into a powder, and the seeds are separated off. And it's very nutritious. It's very high in calcium and vitamin C and potassium and so on. And I've been playing a bit with it. It thickens things, and so I put it into these crackers, and then I also put some crowberries in. It's like a local wild sumac. It's one of our cercia bushes, to give a little bit of flavor as well. And those will be the crackers that we will put some of the various goodies onto so that you can taste them.
Oh, lovely. Let's do that.
Should we start with savories and move on to sweet?
I think so.
Okay. So this is the one which has pumpkin in it, and
I love that color.
yes,
So rich.
Luby, one of the things I always find is that not only are your things delicious, but I feel so healthy eating them. Afterwards, I just feel like I'm getting natural minerals, vitamins, fresh food, no preservatives, and of course, lovely to say fresh from the felt.
yes. And you know, I sometimes feel slightly guilty about the fact that I use sugar, but you know, essentially, if you're going to bottle things, you've got to do something to help it preserve. And so I do use sugar and vinegar in the chutneys and sugar in the jams. I try to keep it down as little as possible so that the flavor of whatever it is that I'm bottling stays as strong as possible. And of course, just to not use too much sugar. So that is that chutney, and then this is the one which has apple and what else did I say I had in it? Onion. So in this one, the flavor of the Kai apple should be a little bit stronger.
So this is the type of thing that one could eat with pork very well, apple and onion.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. And that's, in fact, I mean, you could do it with anything really, but so definitely with pork it would be very good. And even at Christmas time, I had some Kai apple jelly, and we had some of turkey.
Oh, lovely.
So then this is the jam. So this is the one which was just sugar and fruit, and you can see that I kept the skin, and I mean all of this thickness comes from the natural pectin in the fruit. There's nothing added to that to get it thick like this.
It's such a beautiful color.
It is.
Yeah.
It almost looks like a jewel tone.
And you know, the thing with making jams is that you need to keep cooking it until it starts going glassy and clear like that. If you don't cook it that long, then it's not going to want to preserve that much, and it doesn't get that kind of good setting point. So you really, you have to just keep pushing it until it's nearly too long.